My name is Bruce Charles Taff. I was an EN5, second class, engineman, submarine qualified. The people in the engine department, engineering gang, they're always very friendly to me. Plus they needed personnel back there. And so, come on Taff, come on. And I've always been mechanically inclined. All my life, lawnmower would blow up. My dad would say, son, go figure out what's wrong with that dumb thing. Garbage is supposed to get stuck or blow up. My mom said, come here, let's figure this thing out. So it was really more of an incentive to me to learn, and I got one hell of an education. Someplace in there too, the Spinix sent me to a 3-week school in Great Lakes to a EN2 school, which was Engineman second class school. It was an advanced diesel training class is what it was, and so that helped too. I got a lot of knowledge from that too. But like I say, it was just the hands-on education I received in the Navy is something that I'll cherish forever. And you couldn't get it out of a book. There's no way. A book will tell you all you need to do is do A, B, C, and D, and there's no way. I mean, possibly, but most of the time, no. Okay, generally there were submerged or on the surface. When you're submerged, there would be a one, the throttle one. Generally the throttleman in the forward engine room and the oiler in the forward engine room, when submerged, would both stay there. And when you're submerged in the after engine room, you just have the throttle and the oiler would go up to operate the trim manifold. Okay? Remember I told you about the blowing and pumping water hither and yon, bow and stern, port and aft. His function was, like I say, either he would assist in running the stills on the surface or submerged. On the surface, his job was a gopher. Go for coffee, go tighten up a nut and bolt. We had oil filters, oil purifiers and fuel purifiers. And what they were, because this oil and fuel sat in the storage tanks in the boat for so long, sometimes you get residue in that, and so we had these centrifuges that would spin the fuel to purify it before it was pumped back into a fresh water or fresh fuel tank or clean fuel tank. And same with the oil. Because you're always constantly adding oil, because the diesel burns oil. So that was your primary job. Clean the filters. You're constantly checking temperatures, crawling outboard of the engine, going down in the bilges looking for leaks, cleaning up any oil down in the bilges. The general maintenance, little nickel dime maintenance. There's PMS, planned maintenance system to a point, but a lot of it was don't mess with it till it breaks, It just, but anyway, you were a gopher. Quite frequently, because our batteries in the boat required water, and when you have a charge, the water gets semi-boiled out, and/or evaporation. We had to run the stills quite frequently to maintain the amount of water to keep these cells full. You had forward battery and after battery. Each cell weighed a ton. There were Gould ODX 77s. Each one weighed a ton. They were about 8 feet high and about, I don't know, maybe 4 foot by 5 foot, something like that. And each cell had 128 cells, so there were 128 of those in each, the front forward battery and the after battery. And it required a lot of water, plus cooking water, drinking water, very rarely shower water. Quick story too, you know how we washed our clothes on the boat? Whenever we surfaced, they had these line lockers, when you anchor up or tie up alongside somebody or in port, have these line lockers, and when you go to sea, you'd put these put the lines in these lockers. We'd take our clothes, because it was a fine mesh locker so it could flood and drain. Take our clothes and throw them down in there. And when you surface, maybe a 1 week, 2 weeks, who knows, however long, you go get them out of there. And of course they're soaked full of salt, but that's all right, they were clean, you know. You'd shake them out and stand them up, and then take them down in the engine room when the engine was running, lay them over the engines to dry them out, you know, and they're, you know. Anyways, that's how we did that. See, we had 3 meals a day in mid-rats, well, 3 meals a day including mid-rats. You had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then you had a mid-rats meeting like about midnight, and there was always something out there from probably 10 o'clock till 4 in the morning. You know, they'd have sandwich meat, just about anything you can imagine for snacks. You know, you couldn't sleep or whatever, you go out there. Guys would come out because they couldn't sleep, they'd play cards. We'd have movies on board. It was just, we had a great, how do I want to put that? We had probably some of the best food in the world at the time. Then the Navy cut the budget one time and we didn't get steak and lobster anymore. But anyways, and we used to keep bodies in the freezer too. Bodies, like human bodies. You'd pick up a flyer, stuff like that. Now we had good food. Like I say, as a mess cook, you had generally one during the day while you're in port. At night or when you were out to sea, you generally had one, but then you had a night cook. You had one during the day, but your shift was generally a 12-hour shift during the day, sometimes longer. But no, you were just, you know, clean the dishes, flush the garbage out to GDU, whatever the cook needed, you did. You know, go make a breakout for the next meal. Mid-rats was just, you'd put a bunch of stuff out and people at midnight would just come and get it. No, you get your plate and your silverware, or it depends on the function. Because people drifted in all through breakfast, all through lunch. And you picked up your plates when you're finished, and you picked up your plates when you sat down to eat whatever, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It wasn't a sit down, all right, everybody sit down right now, let's eat. You know, it's just, Smitty, our first cook, he was a very good baker. And he was making Bake-Alaskan one time. You probably heard this story already, but the boat took a bad angle, and the captain, not this one, wanted a baked Alaskan. So whoever was the diving officer screwed up, and the boat went like this, and the baked Alaskan slid from the back of the oven to the front and was all over. And he took the baked Alaskan, oh, he was pissed. Took the baked Alaskan, took it up to the wardroom and flopped it on the table and said, "There's your goddamn baked Alaskan." So anyways, Smitty was a good cook. We had some really good cooks on there, chefs I should say. We're in Run Station, Northern Run, and there's this noise that just showed up. And we're supposed to be quiet, okay? And we're submerged into this every once in a while. So we surfaced at night. Chief Taco, Alvarado was his name. He was Spanish, so they called him Chief Taco. Nice guy, though. He grabbed me and he says, "Tap, put on your fall weather gear, harness up." So we went topside, harnessed up, or actually went up through the con, came down the side, hooked onto the safety rail, and went back, took the hatch off, or the superstructure off, outboard exhaust valve, and because we knew it was coming from there, took this. I mean, you got to remember this. The water, it wasn't really tough. The weather wasn't that bad, but I mean, we both got soaked. You know, we were both lucky we had safety harnesses on, and finally got the lid off, and this lid's about this big and about this thick. I don't know how much it weighed. Back then I was stronger. But we got that lifted off, and sure as hell, and down inside there's a crescent wrench, a big crescent wrench that had been lodged underneath the valve, or under the actuating arm for the valve. Like here's your valve here, and here's your actuating arm to bring it up and down like this. Well, somehow it got lodged in here, and for the whole trip it had never broke loose. And it broke loose. And so when we were submerged snorkeling, you get this cotton picking noise. Well, you can't, that's not satisfactory, you know. So we took care of that. But no, it was memorable because I figured I did something, so maybe we could do something even better for the country.